Real Madrid ditching Rodrigo for €100 million Galactico, Arsenal breaking the bank for Osimhen, Chiesa to Barca on a budget deal, and Sterling's Chelsea exit. Find out where he's headed. Let's go! Word on the street is that the club's big bosses are not too happy with Rodrigo's recent antics. And let me tell you, the Brazilian wonder kid has certainly been keeping everyone on their toes. It all started with that DAZN interview where Rodrigo was practically flirting with the idea of a move away from the Bernabeu. Then, just when we thought he couldn't make things more awkward, he goes and calls Manchester City the best team in the world during a chat with GQ Espana. You can't make this stuff up, people. But hey, at least Rodrigo managed to redeem himself by helping Real Madrid secure their 15th Champions League title. That must have been the highlight of his season, right? Nope, not even close. According to Sports Anonymous sources, the higher-ups at Madrid are seriously disappointed with Rodrigo's behavior, and some even believe his days at the club might be numbered. Now, I know what you're thinking. How could a talented player like Rodrigo be on the outs at a club like Real Madrid? Well, let me break it down for you. Apparently, the young Brazilian doesn't have the desire to leave Madrid, but the people who handle Rodrigo do. Ouch, that's gotta hurt. And if that wasn't enough, the folks over at El Desmarque are even more pessimistic about Rodrigo's future. Their reporter, Ruben Uria, straight up declared that Rodrigo next year is not at Madrid. Wow, that's some serious shade being thrown around. But hey, it's not all doom and gloom for Rodrigo. The club still sees him as a key part of their attacking trio, alongside the newly signed Kylian Mbappe and the ever-reliable Vinicius Jr. But the arrival of the French superstar seems to have ruffled a few feathers, with reports suggesting that not everyone is happy about Mbappe's move to the Bernabeu. And if that wasn't enough, there's another potential shake-up on the horizon. Apparently, Real Madrid president Florentino Perez has set his sights on another big-name signing, Rodri from Manchester City. Perez is apparently ready to shell out a cool €100 million to bring the Spanish midfielder to the Spanish capital. And he sees Rodri as the missing link in Madrid's midfield. So, where does this leave Rodrigo, you ask? Well, it looks like he'll be sticking around for now, but his future beyond the upcoming season is anyone's guess. One thing's for sure, though. The drama at the Bernabeu is just heating up, and we can't wait to see how it all unfolds. Now let's hear from you folks. What do you think about Rodrigo's situation? Are you surprised by the club's apparent discontent with him? And do you think Rodri would be a good fit for Real Madrid? Let us know in the comments below. Kylian Mbappe has taken legal action against his former club, PSG, seeking a hefty €55 million. Yep, you heard that right. 55 million. It seems like even football stars have to chase down their paychecks sometimes. So here's the scoop. Mbappe, who left PSG for Real Madrid on a free transfer this summer, claims he's owed unpaid wages and loyalty bonuses from his time in Paris. He says he wasn't paid for the last 3 months of his PSG career and is missing parts of 2 bonus payments. Mbappe's reps have reached out to the LFP and UEFA to get this sorted. PSG, on the other hand, insists they don't owe him a dime because of some new agreement they made when he decided to leave. They argue that Mbappe agreed to forego some of the cash if he left on a free transfer. Classic he said they said situation, right? Mbappe isn't backing down. His camp's been sending letters to the LFP and the French Football Federation, reminding them of the law that says clubs must pay salaries by the end of each month. PSG, though, says they haven't received any official complaints and prefer to keep things hush-hush while they work on a resolution. Now, this isn't just about Mbappe getting his money. If this dispute isn't resolved, PSG could face serious consequences, like a potential transfer ban or even being barred from the Champions League. Talk about high stakes. Mbappe spent 7 thrilling years with PSG, and now this saga adds a bit of spice to his move to Real Madrid. Will he get his 55 million? Will PSG face penalties? What do you think about this drama? Is Mbappe right to go after PSG, or is the club justified in its stance? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and share if you want more updates on this football frenzy. Remember Victor Osimhen, the goal machine tearing it up for Napoli? Yeah, Arsenal haven't forgotten about him. Turns out the Gunners are back in hot pursuit, ready to reignite their interest in the €100 million rated striker. Looks like Chelsea have some serious competition on their hands. You see, Arsenal was sniffing around Osimhen a while back, but things cooled down as Chelsea and PSG started circling like sharks. But now, word on the street, or rather from Corriere dello Sport, is that Arsenal are back in the game, eager to bolster their attack with some serious firepower. And here's the kicker. Napoli seems ready to cash in. Initially, they were clinging onto that hefty 130 million euros release clause like it was the Holy Grail. But now they're singing a different tune. Seems like offloading Osimhen would not only line their pockets, but also pave the way for Lukaku's grand return from Chelsea. Talk about a potential striker swap. Speaking of Chelsea, they're still hot on Osimhen's trail, but they've got their work cut out for them. They've tossed around the idea of a loan deal, but rumour has it Osimhen's not too keen on that. He's got his sights set on something more permanent, and who can blame him? Meanwhile, Lukaku's probably watching this whole saga unfold like a hawk, hoping Osimhen's departure opens the door for his own Napoli reunion with his old pal Antonio Conte. It's like a game of musical chairs, with everyone vying for the best seat in the house. So, what is the final word? Arsenal are rumoured to be willing to shell out money, and Osimhen is eager for a move, so things could get very interesting. Stay tuned, because there could be some explosive transfer news in the next few days. Raheem Sterling's Chelsea exit seems more likely by the day, with Aston Villa now stepping up as serious contenders for the England international's signature. Chelsea's new manager, Enzo Maresca, has made it clear that Sterling doesn't fit into his long-term plans, a decision underscored by Sterling's absence in the squad for their Premier League opener against Manchester City. It's a stark contrast from when Sterling joined Chelsea for £50 million, amid high hopes that he'd replicate his electrifying form from his Liverpool and City days. Despite posting respectable numbers, 19 goals and 12 assists in 81 games, Sterling's time at Stamford Bridge hasn't lived up to expectations. And with the arrivals of Joao Felix and Pedro Neto, his chances of regular playing time have dwindled even further. Enter Aston Villa. Unai Emery's side has been on an upward trajectory, culminating in a return to the Champions League. With the demands of European football on the horizon, Villa is eager to bolster their squad, and Sterling's experience and talent could be just what they need. Talks between Villa and Chelsea have reportedly begun, but there's a financial hurdle to clear. Sterling's substantial £325,000 a week wage. While a loan move could be a workaround, the finer details still need to be hashed out. But Villa isn't the only club sniffing around. Juventus is also reportedly interested, especially if Federico Chiesa heads to Barcelona. Sterling is keen to stay in Europe to keep his international career on track ahead of the 2026 World Cup qualifiers, making a move away from Chelsea increasingly likely. Beyond the pitch, Sterling has been a key figure in the Chelsea dressing room, even playing a role in convincing players like Cole Palmer and Tosin Adarabioyo to join the club. His influence behind the scenes has been significant, but with his future at Chelsea looking uncertain, it's only a matter of time before we see where he lands next, whether it's the claret and blue of Villa or the black and white stripes of Juventus. Manchester United have been chasing Ugarte like a dog after a bone all summer, and it looks like they're finally about to get their man. According to Le Parisien, the two clubs are closing in on a deal worth £51 million. Yep, you heard that right. The 23-year-old Uruguay international is set to pack his bags for Old Trafford. Erik ten Hag has had his eyes on Ugarte since day one of the transfer window. And after some haggling over the price, it seems both clubs have found common ground. Ugarte has been left out in the cold by PSG's boss Luis Enrique lately, so he's been pushing hard for this move. And who can blame him? Joining the ranks of United sounds like a dream, especially as the club looks to reclaim its former glory. The deal is expected to be finalised before the transfer deadline on August 30th, so keep your fingers crossed, United fans. Now, if that wasn't enough to get you excited, there's more good news for the Red Devils. Kobbie Mainoo, the young midfield maestro who broke into the first team last season, is set to get a shiny new contract. United's chiefs are keen to lock him down for the long haul, despite whispers of Barcelona lurking in the shadows. Mainoo's performances have been nothing short of stellar, earning him praise from pundits and fans alike. Talks for his new contract are slated to kick off right after the transfer window shuts. But wait, there's more. In a surprising twist, Chelsea's Ben Chilwell has been offered to Manchester United. With Luke Shaw and Terrell Malacia sidelined by injuries, United's left-back options are thinner than a slice of prosciutto. Chilwell, who's been told by Chelsea's new gaffer Enzo Maresca to find a new club, might just be the answer to Ten Hag's prayers. That said, Chilwell's injury record isn't exactly spotless either, so it's a bit of a gamble. Will United roll the dice? Only time will tell. And speaking of players potentially on the move, let's talk about Jadon Sancho. The winger has had a rocky road at Manchester United, and despite mending fences with Ten Hag, he's not a regular starter. Juventus is sniffing around, eager to add some flair to their wings. Sancho was left out of the squad against Fulham, raising eyebrows and sparking rumours of a possible exit. Juve's top target is still Nicolas Gonzalez from Fiorentina, but if that deal falls through, Sancho could be packing his bags for Turin. Watch this space. Liverpool's new boss, Arne Slot, is off to a cracking start. The Reds snagged a 2-0 win against newcomers Ipswich Town in their season opener at Portman Road. Not too shabby, considering the big shoes Slot has to fill after Jurgen Klopp's departure. The pressure's on for the Dutchman to hit the ground running and keep the Anfield faithful happy. But here's the kicker. Liverpool is the only Premier League team that hasn't made a single first-team signing this summer. Talk about working with what you've got, eh? It's not for lack of trying, though. The Reds had their eyes on Martin Zubimendi, but the Spaniard decided to stick with Real Sociedad. With the transfer window slamming shut next Friday, Liverpool better get a move on if they want to bolster their squad. They might just have to rely on some of their current players to step up and shine in the 2024-25 season. Speaking of potential signings, there's a juicy rumour floating around that Liverpool is eyeing Atalanta winger Ademola Lookman. This Nigerian speedster had a stellar campaign in Serie A last season, bagging 18 goal contributions in 31 appearances. And get this, he scored a hat-trick in the Europa League final. If the Reds can snag him for a reported €60 million, it could be a game-changer. Sure, Lookman's never really set the Premier League on fire, but he's come a long way since his days in England. With his blistering pace and keen eye for goal, he could be the missing piece in Slot's attacking puzzle. Just imagine Lookman tearing up the Anfield turf. It's enough to make any Liverpool fan giddy with excitement. But wait, there's more. Liverpool is also closely following Danish midfielder Svensson from Nordsjælland. This 22-year-old jack of all trades can play in midfield and even fill in at left back. Talk about versatility. Rumour has it that Svensson's stats are on par with Real Madrid's Eduardo Camavinga and Chelsea's Moises Caicedo. Not bad company to keep, eh? Svensson might be flying under the radar, but he's apparently quite the unsung hero in Denmark. A quiet personality who lets his football do the talking sounds like a perfect fit for Liverpool's hard-working ethos. Plus, he probably won't break the bank, which is always a bonus in today's crazy transfer market. Last but not least, there's a story brewing about Liverpool considering a move for Adrien Rabiot, who's currently a free agent after leaving Juventus. Now, if you're a Liverpool fan, you might be experiencing a bit of déjà vu. Rabiot has been linked with the Reds every summer since the dawn of time, or at least before COVID. But here's the thing. Rabiot is 29 now, and he's got some serious competition for his signature from Inter Milan and Bayern Munich. Will this finally be the summer when the stars align and Rabiot dons the famous red shirt? Or will it be another case of close but no cigar? Only time will tell. Whether Liverpool can seal the deals for Lookman, Svensson or Rabiot remains to be seen, but one thing's for sure. It's never a dull moment in the world of football. Ilkay Gundogan, the maestro who left City for Barcelona's sunny shores just last year, is making a sensational return to the Etihad. Yes, you heard that right. The man who captained City to a historic treble is coming back home. And the best part? He's doing it on a free transfer. Talk about a plot twist. Now let's rewind a bit. When Gundogan left Manchester City, it felt like the end of an era. The guy was Pep Guardiola's right-hand man, the midfield general who turned into prime Zinedine Zidane when the pressure was on. He was supposed to bring that same magic to Barcelona. And, to be fair, he did. He was one of their best players last season, pulling the strings in midfield and racking up 13 assists, second only to Bruno Fernandes across the Big Five leagues. But, alas, the story didn't have a fairy tale ending, at least not in Catalonia. Why, you ask? Well, Barcelona's financial situation is still messier than a teenager's bedroom. Joan Laporta, the man with more levers than a Las Vegas slot machine, is still desperately trying to keep the club afloat. Despite his best efforts, and we're talking about some serious financial gymnastics here, Barca is still buried under a mountain of debt. They borrowed €1.5 billion to revamp the Camp Nou, hoping to generate more matchday revenue. But with the club still over €1 billion in debt, it's like trying to put out a forest fire with a garden hose. So, what does Barca do? They start pushing high earners out the door to lighten the wage bill, and unfortunately for them, that includes Gundogan. It's like selling your best furniture to pay the rent. It might keep the lights on for now, but it leaves you sitting on the floor. For City though, it's a major win. Gundogan's return gives Guardiola exactly what he's been missing, a proven experienced midfielder who knows the system inside out and can provide crucial cover for Rodri. Plus, he's still got that attacking flair and big game mentality that City will need as they look to defend their titles. Sure, some players might see their minutes dwindle with Gundogan back in the mix, but that's just the price of having a squad packed with talent. But let's not forget that this move raises a big question about Barcelona. Are they really moving forward under Laporta or just treading water? The club's financial woes aren't going away anytime soon, and losing a player of Gundogan's caliber, especially one who fit Xavi's system like a glove, only underscores the instability that still plagues the Blaugrana. So while City fans are probably buzzing at the thought of Gundo's sleek passing and clutch goals back in Sky Blue, Barca supporters have to be wondering what's next for their club. One thing's for sure, this saga isn't over. Stay tuned, because in football, the next twist is always just around the corner. It looks like Federico Chiesa, the Italian winger, might be saying arrivederci to Juventus and hola to Barcelona. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wasn't Chiesa supposed to be Juve's golden boy? The one they splashed a whopping €60 million on? Well, it seems like times have changed, and the Bianconeri are now desperate to offload the 26-year-old before his contract runs out next summer. Word on the street is that new head coach Thiago Motta has given Chiesa the cold shoulder, leaving him out of the first team plans. It's a bit of a head-scratcher, considering Chiesa's talent, but it looks like Juve's top brass are more interested in cutting their losses than keeping him around. Enter Barcelona. The Catalan giants have been on the hunt for some fresh blood, and after missing out on Nico Williams and Rafael Leao, they've set their sights on Chiesa. Now, don't get too excited just yet. Barca's not exactly swimming in cash these days, thanks to those pesky financial fair play rules. They're reportedly only willing to cough up around 15 million for Chiesa, a far cry from the 60 million Juve paid. But here's the kicker. Juve might just be desperate enough to take the deal. They're staring down the barrel of losing Chiesa for free next summer, so 15 million is starting to look pretty good right about now. Of course, there's still the small matter of Chiesa's wage demands. The guy's currently raking in around 5 million per season at Juve, but he's got his eyes on a nice little raise to 7 million. That could be a tough pill for Barca to swallow, especially if they need to sell some players to make it happen. Still, you can't deny that Chiesa would be a steal at that price. He's a top-quality player who could add some serious firepower to Barca's squad. And let's be real, in today's market, finding a bargain like that is about as rare as a referee admitting they were wrong. So, will it happen? Only time will tell. Juve seems to be backed into a corner, and Barca's got a chance to swoop in and nab a world-class player on the cheap. It's the kind of drama that makes the transfer window so darn exciting. One thing's for sure, if Chiesa does end up trading Turin for Barcelona, it'll be a heck of a story. Imagine the scenes when he lines up against his old teammates in the Champions League. But hey, that's the beauty of football. You never know what's going to happen next. One day, you're the star of the show, the next you're being shipped off to a rival club. It's a crazy old game, but that's why we love it, right? So keep your eyes peeled, folks. The Chiesa saga is far from over. And who knows, maybe we'll all be singing Viva España before the transfer window slams shut. In the meantime, let's just sit back and enjoy the ride. After all, that's what being a football fan is all about.